Uglies, and welcome back to my channel. So it's been quite a while, but I think it's understandable. One, I'm pregnant. Two, look what's all going on. Speaking of which, many of us are still at stay-at-home orders or safer-at-home orders, and we can't do the rituals that we normally might do, whether that be with a coven, whether that's ourselves and just going out into nature, or having to go to the stores and pick up certain things that we might not currently have, or larger rituals that are larger than just covens but with other people, including with moon rituals. So with Beltane, since this normally is one where we are either outside or bringing outside into us, and a lot of people celebrate in larger groups, these are some ideas that you can do inside, and many of you probably do them. I mean, they're not all out inside if you're lucky enough to have a backyard or a space, or the ability to still really go out into nature. I know a lot of places have banned going to larger parks, etc. So yeah, a lot of people might already be doing some of these, especially solitary witches tend to already do some of these things or similar. So these are some basic ideas. So one, you can just do a ritual around the sacred feminine goddess energy, or a goddess that you feel connected to, or the goddesses related to the Sabbath, etc. Bring in that fertility energy, that great feminine energy for renewal and rebirth as we go upon this year, just to celebrate the sacred feminine. So whether that be through a small ritual within your own circle, or just bringing in some of those feminine energy related items, such as decorating your altar with chalices, flowers, lunar related objects that you might use at moon rituals, doves, swans, even fish, and just decorating that area. Really trying to bring in as much nature as possible. Even, I know this is more of Ostara related, but you can still bring in like the eggs and all that kind of stuff along with the flowers. It's a lot of different things you can do. And then if you want to do specific rituals, I'm going to have some links below, and I'm going to put my past Beltane videos below as well, especially the one with celebrating with children that I made a couple years ago will be related to what I'm doing. I'm also going to put some recipes if you want to just have like a family feast at home. So again, with this feminine energy aspect, you can have like white candle, having an offering of something that's important to you that you may want to be working on through this next coming year, and that you want to bring out the energy of, some pebbles or stones, anything that you really find out in nature right now. So if you already are having wildflowers or dandelions coming out, you can bring that in, and then call upon a goddess that, again, you feel connected to. So an idea would be Freya, Isis, etc. for this time. The mother goddess, earth goddesses, which it's really good too that the upcoming new moon in Taurus is also happening on Earth Day here in America. So, and then you have this like a little over a week later. So you're having a lot of this very earth connected to Mother Earth and goddesses related to the feminine power of rebirth and just embracing your femininity. It's a really good time for all this. Along with that, and you can actually do both together, is honoring your female ancestors or strong ancestors, going back as well to embrace. So calling upon the mother goddess, the mothers of your ancient relatives, the guardians, expressing gratitude and just embracing that power for the upcoming year, bringing in some new harmony for yourself as well. And then I did mention with kids, which I will put the video below as well, you can, and I talk about this in this video if memory serves me correct, make little mini maypoles for the kids' altars, or just, for a certain place in your home in which is representative of your worship as well, or just as decor for the Sabbath coming up. I do describe how to make those, but I will put the link to the video and some other craft ideas below as well. You can also have a family abundance ritual. That does not necessarily mean, you know, just money and prosperity, because I do know that's an important thing right now for people, but it's also something that's difficult for many people, including myself, to really have. But it's also about spiritual and emotional wealth and prosperity and the growth of the earth and the bringing back. So you could have a family dinner with like fresh fruits, salads, and breads. You could do a little planting. So again, not everyone can go and garden outside or has access to community gardens right now, etc. But you can have window gardens. So just getting like a little planter, which you can decorate, your kids can decorate, and put the seeds in. And I will get into some flowers that kind of are related, but again, I'm going to put some more links as well. So that's one thing you can do. And then in the links that I'll have below, I'll have a little ritual to do that. So herbs, flowers, etc. Having just even like a little herb garden that they can do. There's also like kid-related little indoor gardening kits for the younger children to work on as well if you just want to do that. Again, I understand going to stores, not everybody's able to, especially if you're like myself where you have asthma or immune suppressed, high pregnancy, certain age, etc. Going to the store might be difficult, but you can order online. Just make sure you follow the, you know, rules for cleaning those if you don't have this on, you know, right there already. So you can also make food together as a family. So making the breads, making a salad with the kids, doing these little tiny things together as well. You can make flower crowns, which I will again have a link below on an idea how to do that if you've never done it. For like really little ones, like the toddler age, you can just use the pipe cleaners and put little fake flowers on them. Or again, if there's already some wildflowers or even dandelions growing by you, you can pick some of those and tie them about as well. You can also make crone baskets with your kids inside, or you can just make nature-related, seasonal-related craft items with them. There's also family rituals you can do. Again, I know not everyone's comfortable with that, but there are a variety of things you can do with the kids. You can even talk to them about rebirth and nature, and how things bloom in like the scientific nature-based fact of, you know, flowers, how they start as seeds, etc. I know some use this as a time to really talk about fertility and birth. Again, it has to do with how you feel, and if you feel your children are age appropriate, how you can do that. There are stories out there related to the Sabbath that you can use to help them. Also playing pagan, witchy music to help bring that energy of fertility and life back into your home, especially in these times. So not only with the kids can you do some planting and gardening that's indoors, or again, if you're lucky enough to have some space outside, this can also be an opportunity to do this. So not only is it a really good time to be planting and gardening in general starting around this time, but again, it goes into that fertility and rebirth. It's also a way that you can bring in that Mother Earth energy. Doing rituals or making crafts to protect against fairy energies that might be a little mischievous. Again, that's something you could do with the kids. Meditating, if you don't want to do a full ritual, that again is a good thing to do to release energies you no longer want and bring back the part of you, the strength and the empowerment that you want to carry through for the rest of the year. Meditations to connect to your inner goddess, the Earth Mother again. You can go in your backyard if you do have one. If you live in an apartment building and you might have some little outside gardening area or some trees, you know, just getting that little feel, or again, if you can't leave the home, opening up your windows, letting it air out, letting the negativity go out, and doing a cleansing ritual can also be a good idea. Again, if you're lucky enough, going into a nature walk by yourself, with your kid, etc. Just really trying to connect and bring in that energy again. Then setting up an altar. So that's something probably people have already thought of, but it's something to at least get started, because we don't have to allow this time to really fully shut us down. And again, depending on the age of your children and if you want to involve them, this is something you can do with them as well. So I'm going to have links below for people who might still be new and haven't really ever set up an altar and want an idea of what that can look like, but bringing in the colors of the season. So a lot of like the greens, the earthy colors, the spring flower colors of like dandelions, so the yellows, the purples of like the lilacs and the violets, this sky blue for the sky or the robin's egg that are just starting to really show. Once again, having colored ribbons, candles, altar cloths, all of that good stuff. Candles, having white candles, but also some of these pastel, brighter spring colors as well. And then including fertility symbols. So if you can get acorns, antlers, you know, sticks, seeds, anything like that. If you do plant in a little planter some seeds that don't need like direct sun and can work on your altar, that would be a good idea as well. Or if you do go to a store, going and getting flowers that are related to the season, so like violets, tulips, daffodils, things of that nature. And then also having flower wreaths or rings, some type of circular object that can represent the goddess if you do not have a goddess object already on your altar, or a symbol, such as like a statue of like the earth god, like the earth mother, or a cauldron, a cup, any type of representation of that femininity. That's an idea as well. And then bringing in things related to the fairies and that aspect of spring as well. So many people do have their own herb closet or herb cabinet and may have these on hand, and some of what I'm about to say are basic things that people might have already in their kitchen, but maybe not. But again, if you can get to a store or if you want to order these online, you still have time. So to make your own little incense for Beltane, you can use sacred herbs and plants for this time, such as mugwort. So get 2 parts of the dried mugwort, and then 1 part of dried basil. So again, that's something you might already have in your kitchen. 1 part dried daffodil petals. If you don't have daffodil petals, again, there might already be dandelions. You might have had some tulips or violets or something like that. So you can bring those in. Otherwise, 1 part berries, particularly hawthorn, but if you can't, that's fine. Again, make sure they're dried because this is going to be an incense. 1 part patchouli, 1 part cinnamon. Try to make sure it's ground. I mean, I tend to sometimes grind up cinnamon sticks, but they don't always burn the best, especially if you have a smaller incense burner that you're using. If I do use sticks, I put it in a cauldron and burn it. And then 1/2 part dragon blood resin. So again, that does come in powdered form, or it does come in like more of a harder gum type incense resin. That again, it has to do with your preference as well as what you're using as an incense burner. If you do know how to weave or you want to learn, this might be a good time to try that as a skill for Beltane, as well as weaving some baskets, maybe try and bring some flowers into it. You don't have to. But that's another idea of what you can do. Having a fire. So having a fire festival tends to be part for a lot of people. If you don't have access to a bonfire during this time, and you don't have access to a fireplace, and you do have a cauldron, that can work. If you don't have any of the above, having a fire-safe, fireproof bowl or even a pot, you can have some sticks and maybe some of the ingredients or all the ingredients of that incense I just listed, or other sacred plants and herbs related to the holiday, and burn them and do a ritual that you may find or that you come up with yourself to bring in some of that rebirth and that empowering energy. However, it's not necessary. If you can't do it, it's okay during this time. So some other plants, this is what I'm going to end with, that can be included, that are sacred to the holiday, are oak trees. So oak trees are a symbol of victory, power, magic, and wisdom. Fairies are also related to the oak tree. Not everybody has some type of affinity with fairies or connection, but if you do, there is that. Oak trees are also tied to the Green Man, the Lord of the Forest, Oak King, etc. And then the birch is also sacred for Beltane. So that can be used for your mini maples if you have access to a stick of birch. It's not necessary, just putting that out there. I myself, my daughter, when she was 2, used oak, so it can work. But birch is for rebirth and regeneration. So for Beltane, obviously, it would make sense that this would be one. It does give an extra little boost to certain magic and rituals that you might be doing, especially if it's related to the fertility aspect of the Sabbath, and creativity. It also is good for healing and protection, so that might be something to think about. To include. So again, going back to, if you're going to do some type of mini fire ritual, getting some pieces of birch might be good to be bringing in, as well as even with your incense. I know I did not mention it, but you could, get some little shreds of dried birch and grind it up. Then you have the dandelion, which I've mentioned a few times, which can be used for purification, healing, cleansing, even divination and bringing some good positive energy towards yourself. Tulips, I did mention a couple times as well. Because of the various colors that they can come in, they can be used for various things. I do have a video on colors, but it was particularly candles, but it is still essentially the same, so bringing that in as well. So bright red flowers can be used for love magic, for an example. The yellows can be used for, bringing joy and happiness and positivity, etc. Tulips in general are used for prosperity. So again, going back way to the beginning, if you're going to do some type of prosperity, that's a good one. Violets, tranquility, peace, protection from dark energy and evil. You can carry them with you to bring luck to you. You can also put them under your pillow to protect you from nightmares and any negative energies, or if you have restless leg or something else, just for that, and also to enhance nighttime magic. And then rowan trees, those are also associated with fairies or the fae. They can be used to make protective talismans. They can be used around your doors and windows for protection from the fairies. And from other negative energies as well. And then I did mention hawthorn berries earlier, but hawthorn trees are associated with fertility and sexuality. It's also a good idea due to old folklore to take like thorns or parts of the hawthorn tree and put them under a pillow or a mattress if you are trying to conceive a child. And then magical herbs, mugwort, which was mentioned earlier for the incense, dill, various mints, rosemary. They all can start to really grow during this time, but they're also great for this time. And they all have different magical aspects as well. Mint and rosemary and mugwort are very good in general. So that's all that I have today. Again, these are just a few ideas. There's so much that you can do. And it also has to do with time, because I know a lot of people are homeschooling or, you know, working from home still, or still are essential workers and out there working. So these are just some things you can try and put together. Be safe, and I hope everyone has a great Sabbath for Beltane, and also a great new moon if you watch this beforehand. So I'll see you next time, and blessed be.